Today I'll be showing you the most perfect and detailed method of making a funnel corset with the bustier parts, how to cut the yoke and attach it to your corset as well. Hi soulmates, my name is Tekla, and if this is your first time coming to my channel, go ahead now and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and remember to turn on your notification bells so that you will be the very first person to know when I upload new tutorials. So for this tutorial, I've already gone ahead to mark out my pattern and also my vertical measurements. You can see my shoulder to my chest line. You can see my shoulder to my bust point. You can see my shoulder to my underbust, shoulder to waist, and then my full length. The full length I'm using for this corset is about 24 inches, and then my chest line is 2 inches above my bust point. So for this particular corset, I am going to mark my dart line, my nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 4, on my bust point. Then on the hem line, I am going to mark only 2 inches. That means that we are going to work with a slanted dart. Do you understand? The dart we are going to use for this particular funnel corset is a slanted dart, not the normal 4 inches dart that we always put. So now that we have our slanted line, we are going to work with it. Now before you dive into this tutorial, I would like you to go ahead now, like this video and share it to your tailoring friends, fellow tailors and soulmates, so that they can be able to also benefit from this tutorial. So for the waist, I am going to mark 1 inch away on the waist part, and I am going to connect it to my bust point, just the way you take your normal dart, right? So we are first going to do this before we do our under bust tightening. So I came in and went out by 1 inch on both sides. Then on the hem line, I am going to just connect it straight. You can also see that I am using my pencil to connect this particular line, just the way you can see me marking, right? So I'm using my pencil to do that, and I'm just going to go ahead and connect that together. So right now that we have this, I am now going to go ahead and do the under bust tightening. So from that particular place where I have that line on my pencil, I am going to come out by 3/4 of an inch, and I am also going to do the same thing on the other part. Remember that I didn't start from the green line, I started from the pencil line, and this is going to serve for our under bust tightening. So I am going to go ahead and connect that to my bust point on both sides of my line. Hope you were able to understand that. You can see the way I am connecting that. So by this, we have already achieved our under bust tightening. So on the hem line of my corset, I am going to go ahead and measure half inch on both sides. That is to say that I am going to take out 1 inch on the down part. So I am going to measure ½ inch on both sides, and then I am now going to connect from that my under bust line to the full length. Are you seeing the way I'm doing that? So I'm going to connect from my under bust to the full length on both sides, and by that way we have already taken our waist dart, and then we have also taken our under bust tightening. So you see the way I tightened my under bust and also the way I took out my waist dart. So now that we have done this, let's proceed. So follow me and let's move on to the next thing. I would also like to say that for this tutorial, what I used for the neckline is 3 by 3 inches, which is the standard neckline. Then my shoulder slope, I just divided what I have there by 2, and then I'm going to connect it to my bust point, just the way you saw me marking. So now you can see what we have. So let's ride on. If you have not subscribed to our channel, kindly note that you might not see this channel again. So the only way to get to see this channel again is by going ahead now to hit that subscribe button, so that you will always know when I upload new tutorials. That is very important. So on that slanted line, I came up by 3 inches first. I'm still going to come up by ½ inch again because I noticed that this 3 inches is a little bit down, but for now I came up by 3 inches, and I'm just going to connect that back to my bust point line. Right, I'm just connecting it back to my bust point line so that we'll have our overbust tightening. Please kindly note that this particular one that I did now is my overbust tightening, and then remember that we also did our underbust tightening as well, so you can see exactly what we have. Now on my bust points, the bust I am working with is 40 divided by 4, which is 10. So I'm going to go ahead now and mark that on my bust points and also on my chest line. Kindly note that that allowance that we took on the chest line, we are not adding it back. Now pay attention. For this particular corset, I'm still going to snatch the waist. The waist I am working with is 31. And I want to take out 4 inches from my waist. So 31 minus 4 is 27. What that means is that the waist that we are now working with is 27 inches. So that 27 inches divided by 4 is going to give me 6 3/4 of an inch. Now this 6 3/4 of an inch is what we are now going to mark on our waist. My waist is 31. I want to snatch by 4. So I minus 4 inches from that 31 to get 27 inches. Now whatever you have left, you still divide it by 4. What you now get is what you are going to mark on your waistline. What I got on my own is 6.75, right? Then I'll still measure what I have for that dart that I took, which is 2, and then I added it back, just the way you can see me do. Did you understand how I snatched the waist? So I am now going to go ahead to connect my lines together. So I'm connecting from the bust points to the waist, and then I connected to my chest line as well, and you can see the way I have. I know that some people, while making this funnel corset, they do not want to maybe snatch the waist, but for me, I want my corset to be given, and you all know, my subscribers know how I like my things, so I'm definitely snatching the waist. So on the full line, I marked my hip measurement, and then I measured that 1 inch dart that I took, and then I added it back. Now if you do not want your corset to have that effect, that cone effect by the side, just leave it like this, right? And then just come up by whatever that you want. But for me, I want it to have that conical effect by the side, so I am going to come up by about 1.5 inches, and I also extended it by 1.5 inches. I came up by 2 inches, sorry, and then I extended my line by 1.5 inches. Just look at the pattern paper and you understand everything that I'm saying. So I am now going to extend from my waist to that line. The reason why I am doing this is because I want it to have a conical effect. If you do not want the conical effect, just use this pencil line that I first marked, right? So right now I went ahead to take my bust point darts. On my bust point, I came down by 1.5 inches, and then I connected it back to my bust. That place I marked my nipple to nipple line, and then I just took out the dart. So that's going to serve for my bust point darts. Then you also remember that I told you that the 3 inches I came up with on the chest line was not enough. So this is me adding extra ½ inch on it so that my bustier part can be able to be decent on me. But if you want it to be down, you can just leave it at that 3 inches. So what that means is that I came up by 3.5 inches from my chest line. Then on my bust point, well, I came up by about 2.5 inches. Now at this part, you know that depth on the center of your bust, this is it. You can decide to take it lower than that so that your cleavage will show a little. But for me, I didn't really want it to show much, so I just came up by 2.5, and that was exactly what I marked. So on the chest line, I came down by ½ inch, and that is exactly where I am now going to connect to the other dart leg, just the way you saw me mark. So you can see that I came down by ½ inch on my chest line. So right now I am going to go ahead to now open up the shoulder line, so you can see what our pattern is looking like. Now, one thing I always tell people is, do not try to open your bust point dart or to close your bust point dart without opening your shoulder line, right? So you can see the way I slashed through my shoulder line, and then I slashed it all the way to the bust point. I just stopped about 1/4 of an inch to the bust point. Then on my bust point, I'm now going to cut through on the middle of it. And now that I've opened up these two lines, I am now going to first of all close my bust point dart, right? Can you see the way I'm doing that? So I am now going to go ahead to close my bust point dart, so that we can now be able to work on the shoulder part. And you remember that this funnel corset is going to have a yoke, because I've actually seen people that attach yoke to it. So in case you want to add a yoke, that is exactly why we are going to work more on this up part, so that we can able to have a yoke that will fit you, and then that will not have any error. So now that I've done that, on my waist part, I am going to divide what I have left by 2. Now, the thing that we've done our underbust tightening and taking our waist dart, but then assuming you still want your funnel corset to be snatched more, then that you are going to take this dart that I'm taking now. So on the waist, I'm just going to take it 1/4 of an inch on both sides. I'm just going to take 1/4 of an inch on both sides. 1/4 plus 1/4 is 1/2 inch, and we are assuming that this particular pattern paper is on fold, which means that 1/2 inch plus 1/2 inch is already 1 inch. So automatically what that means is that you have taken out extra 1 inch away from your waist. You remember that when we did waist snatching, we took out 4. Now, if you do this particular dart that I'm doing now, then it means that you have taken out another 1 inch from your waist. So I just wanted to explain the reason why we do that, so that you do not get confused. So this is optional. You can decide to tighten your waist more or not. So on that particular place where I opened up my shoulder dart, I measured what I have on that opening, and it was about 3 inches. The 3 inches, I divided it into 2 to give me 1.5. Then I now extended my shoulder slope to that one. I came down by 1 inch and then extended by 1.5. Then I'm just going to connect that to my chest line, and this is going to serve as my armhole curve. So you would notice that I never took my armhole curve from the beginning. I could have done that, but I didn't want to confuse you. I just wanted to do it like this so that we do not get confused. Then you know that when we divided that shoulder opening by 2, we had, what that means is that we still have 1.5 inches remaining. So that 1.5 inches that is remaining, just keep it somewhere and keep it safe. We are still going to use it, right? So you can see everything that we have. Just retaking my measurements to see that everything is on point and nothing is missing. Corset, there's no way it will not come out nice and looking so fine, right? So I'm just cross-checking to see that all the measurements is on point and we are not missing anything. So on that my armhole curve that I marked, I am going to first come up by 1 inch, then I'm going to come in on that armhole curve by 1/2 of an. So that is where we are now going to take our funnel corset. Now at this point, you can say whether you want your funnel bust point, but for me, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch on my bust point line, and then on the middle part of my pattern, I'm also going to come down by 1/2 inch, just the way you can see me marking. You can decide that your funnel curve is going to pass through just on your nipple line, but for me, I decided to come down on my nipple line by 1/2 of an inch. So I'm just going to go ahead to use my pencil to connect that together, just the way you can see, and automatically our funnel curve is out. Are you seeing that, guys? So I just use my pencil to do it first to see how it looks. Then I'm just going to connect the remaining part to my chest line. The reason why we came in by 1/2 inch on the armhole is so that pointed effect does not choke you when you wear the dress. You can also decide to come up more if you want the pointed effect to be more, to extend more. Do you understand? So I'm just going to go ahead because I noticed what I have is something I can work with. So I am going to go ahead now through the line with my marker pen, just the way you can see me marking. And then on the other side of the curve, I am also going to use my curved ruler to connect back to my chest line. And guys, can you see this funnel corset? Can you see that this pattern is giving, like everything is on point? There's no way you use this particular method to sew your funnel corset that it will not come out so nice, right? So by this time, I hope that you must have subscribed to our channel, because if you didn't subscribe, you are not going to see us again. Now, you remember that 1.5 inches that I told you to keep somewhere? Bring it out. Now divide it by 2. If you divide 1.5 inches by 2, you are going to have 3/4 of an inch. That 3/4 is what I took out on both sides of my shoulder opening. Did you see that? So I took out 3/4 of an inch on both sides to now connect it to our dart leg for our bustier. If you didn't understand this thing that I said, please rewatch that particular part so that you meet up, right? So I'm just going to fold that in so that we are going to now reconnect our shoulder line, because after you must have taken all these darts in one way or the other, there's going to be a shift here and there. Did you see what I did? So I just had to reconnect my shoulder line together like so that, and then I had to check, because the shoulder I'm working with is 16 divided by 2, so I had to check whether it is still 8, and just the way you saw, so we are correct, right? So let's see that this corset is so on point. So guys, go right the like button right now, hit the like button, because that's where YouTube is going to suggest this video to other people too. Don't like it, they will think, oh, maybe this tutorial is not what we need on this app. So please like this video and let's continue. And also, you can also share videos to your tailoring groups so that other people can get to benefit from it. Share to your tailoring group, to your tailor friends that you know need tutorial, so that they too, they can benefit from it. So go ahead now, share, like the video. If you have any question, please drop it in the comments and let's ride on. So you can see that on that bust point where I took my bust point, that I had to also reshape the line so that it can be straight, and I just had to from my armhole part to my full length right now, so that I can be able to now continue with the pattern. So right now we are going to trace out the bust part, like the bustier part, the tube part. So I brought a plain sheet and then I kept it under that pattern that we have, and I am going to pin that together. I'm going to pin it just so that it does not shift. So I just brought a plain sheet and then I kept it stopped at the underbust line, like the plain sheet stopped at the underbust line. And then make sure that your plain sheet also comes up over the bust curve that we have. You know that place where we came up by 3.5 inches from the bust point above the chest line? Please just make sure that your plain sheet or your plain pattern extended more than that, and then it also stops at the center. Then at this point we are going to trace out the bustier part on that plain sheet. Now if you have a tracing wheel, Abby, okay, if you have a tracing wheel, you can use that to trace it out, but I didn't really have a tracing wheel close to me, so I'm just going to use my pencil to make emphasis on those lines. And you know that by doing this, automatically the lines is going to transfer to the plain pattern, right? So you can see the way I am just using it to make emphasis on it. So I'm also going to use this opportunity to tell you about our ongoing online classes. We have classes on transparent corsets, princess that bustier, fashion business course, fashion branding course, and how you can launch your ready to wear brand. So these classes are very detailed online classes and they are affordable. So, and they are all on Telegram classes. So I'm going to leave my link in the description box. I'm going to also leave my link in the comments so that you can be able to reach me there. If you want to learn how to make transparent corsets, how to use the right shade of net or illusion net, how to make the bust cup part, like the bust caging on the bra cup, how to attach it to your corset, how to attach yoke, how to the boning technique to use and everything. If you want to learn how to do all these things, all you have to do is click that link in the description box or my WhatsApp link in the comments of this video, and it is going to bring you directly to my WhatsApp. Now the transparent corset class is 10,000 naira if you are in Nigerian, and then we have other courses which are more cheaper than that or more affordable than that. So all you have to do is click that WhatsApp link in the comments, and then it will bring you to my WhatsApp. We also have a content group where we share tasks weekly on how you can be able to achieve more this year as a fashion designer. To join the group is just 1,000 naira that you have to pay, and then we share tasks on what to do, we share ideas on what to do so that you can be able to make more profits in the year. And all you have to do is also to click the WhatsApp link in the comments, and it is going to bring you directly to my WhatsApp. I also have a community of tailor. If you want to join, all you have to do is go to our bio on this YouTube, and you'll see a link that says join WhatsApp community. Just click on that link and it will take you directly to the group so that you can join other tailors that are there if you want. Then I am also urging you to check other tutorials that we have on the channel, because we have very detailed tutorials from the pattern drafting to the sewing. I also have videos on fashion business courses as well, tips and tricks that you can apply to your fashion business as a tailor. So all you have to do is just go to our bio on this YouTube and see every other tutorial that we have, and you are definitely going to find value in those videos, right? So, and also if you have not subscribed to this channel, just know that there's no way you are going to see us again. Imagine getting this much value and then you don't get to know the channel where you even saw it. So go ahead now, hit the subscribe button and like this video, share this video to your friends so that they too could watch. And if you have any question, drop it in the comments, and that is going to be a way of me seeing what you think about this video as well. So now that all that is said and done, you can see the way I am cutting this pattern, right? So I first did cut out 3/4 inch, and then I am now cutting out our darts. I'm going to cut through the funnel part so that you see. Then I am also going to work on the yoke part as well. Remember that I said that in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create the yoke in case you want to attach a yoke to your funnel corset, right? So I'm just cutting out the darts of the waist and of the underbust tightening, just the way you can see me marking. And ooh, you can see that our funnel corset is looking so nice and it's coming out so great, right? So I just had to cut out the other part, which is now not of use. It's not of use anymore, right? Then I now brought a plain pattern or another pattern, which I'm going to use to extend the yoke. Because of the extension on the tip of our funnel corset on the side, a part of the yoke was affected. So I'm just going to I'm just going to now extend that just the way you can see me. So I brought the funnel part and placed it on that plain pattern, and just the way I used my pencil to trace out before, I am still going to now go ahead and trace it again so that our yoke can be well curved, right? So that everything can be on point. So right now I am just blending in my yoke so that it can look nice, so that when you cut it on your pattern, it will not have a problem. On that place where I also slanted, where I also opened up on the shoulder part, I closed it as well. So you can see that my yoke is now one piece, right? It's just a one piece pattern now. Do you understand? So you can see that right now we have the yoke, we have the bustier part, and then we have the funnel part. Is that not amazing? So you can see what we have. You can see what we have. You can see how beautiful this is already looking and how the shape is already taking place. This particular side where I marked 2, I'm still going to contour it a little bit, but that will be at the end of the tutorial. Can you see what we have? So even if you don't want to attach yoke, this is already very perfect for you to work with, right? So this is perfect. So guys, go ahead and like the video and let's ride on. So I just hope that you found value in this tutorial and every single thing is on point. And remember, if you have a question, drop it in the comments and I will answer you right away. So we are going to go ahead now and move over to the back. So this is my center and then this is my side. And remember that other dart, if you want to snatch it more, you just cut through it. By that way, your funnel corset is now going to be a 3-piece part. So that's by the way. So for the back, I've also measured my vertical lines as well, just the same way I did for the front. I came down by 1 inch on the back for the neckline, and then I marked my bust, round bust divided by 4, which is 10. I marked it on my bust points and on my chest line as well. Then on my waist, remember that the waist we are working with is about 27 inches. So that's 6.75 that I have. I just marked it on my waist. On this particular back, I am not going to add that to it, right? I am not going to be adding that because we are still going to take out the eyelet part. Now, if you want to add that to your back pattern, that is not an issue at all. But for me and for tutorial, I am not going to be adding any extra that at the back, simply because it is going to work and work perfectly well for me, right? Do you understand? So right now, I'm just cross-checking the front. I'm just cross-checking the front to make sure that I am going to have the same thing at the back well, because I wouldn't want a situation whereby I'll be joining this on the side and maybe the back is longer than the front or the front is longer than the back, you know, all those kind of things. So I wouldn't want that to happen. So I'm going to work on this pattern until I achieve the same consistency on the front and on the back. So that same thing that I did on the full length of my front, I am going to do it on the full length of my back currently, specifically for people that will be working with the same length for the front and the back. Some people choose to have the same corset length for the front and the back. Some choose to have the back shorter than the front. So my back is still going to be shorter than the front, but this particular one that I did now is in case you want your back to be the same length with the front. So for my eyelet part or my back opening, on my bust point, I went in by 2.5 inches, and then I now reconnected my corset, the back where I wanted to stop. I think I took out about 3 inches from this full length, and on that same line I came in by 1.5 inches to now have my slanted line. And you can see what I have. You can see how this looks, right? Can you see? So for the, I'm still going to contour this more so that everything will be properly in shape and properly in order. So for the yoke of our back, I still came down by that same 1/2 inch that I did on the front. Just pay attention, you will see every single thing that we did. I still came down by that same 1/2 inch, and then on my bust point I came up by 1 to connect that, and this is where my yoke is going to stop. I don't want my yoke to extend to my bust point line. And for this back, I would also like to say that I minus 1 inch from the waist, meaning that your shoulder to your half length on the front and your shoulder to your half length on the back is not the same thing. So if your shoulder to your half length on the front is 18, on the back minus 1, which is 17. I also did that on this pattern. Then for my neckline, I came down by 1 inch from that place that I already came down by 1. Then I connected it to my line which I took out from my eyelets. Can you see what we have? So I'm just marking these zeros to show you exactly where I am going to put my eyelets in the sewing tutorial. So can you see what we have? So right now, because I told you that I wouldn't want the front, the back knot to be of the same length, I brought my front just to cross check that everything is in order. And then since I noticed that I have excess, I just had to like retake that and then recurve that, so that when I'm joining I do not have any excess allowance, especially unnecessary ones there. Then on the armhole part, I'm still going to reconnect to the center as well, so you can see what I have. Can you see this? This is just looking so nice, and this pattern is very detailed. I made sure to make even a beginner is going to understand this tutorial, right? I did not jump anything, and I'm trying to be as detailed as possible so that we can all be on the same page after this tutorial. And just like I always say, I do not teach for you to know, I teach for you to master it. With this tutorial, you should be able to make a funnel corset after we are done with the sewing tutorial, right? So you can just see the way I did cut that out. I'm still going to contour my yoke. There's a navy blue dress that I made, and from that navy blue dress you will see that the back is lapping very well. If you go to the shots on this channel, you'll see this navy blue dress that I'm talking about. The back of that dress is lapping very well on her because I took out some inches from it. I took out something from it, from the back yoke, not the one that your back yoke will now be gaping at the back and it will not look like it's not a fashion designer that supervised or did this work. So that is exactly why I took out that 1/2 inch on the yoke part, so that it can be able to lap well and it will be able to stand well on the back of your corset, so that it doesn't gape, so that after making this dress it will look like it's a good designer, like a professional that made it, not just anyhow person. So you can see what I have. You can see that front and that back pattern. So you remember that I told you that I'm still going to contour this number 2 of my bustier part. So that is just what I'm doing, and this is totally optional. You can even choose to use it like this, but for me, I'm just going to take out about 1.5 inches or 2 inches from it, and then I'm also going to come in by 1/2 inch on the side parts so that I can be able to have everything on point. Can you see that? So guys, did you enjoy this tutorial? I can't wait to see you in the sewing tutorial. And also remember to like this video right away, and remember that if you don't subscribe to our channel, you might not get to see us again. So go ahead now and hit the subscribe button. See you in my next tutorial. It's still your girl Tekla. Bye.